In this section, we are going to look at variables. So what are variables? Just like in any other scripting or programming language, variables are used to store values that varies with different items. For example, let's say we are trying to perform the same operation of applying patches to hundreds of servers. We only need a single playbook for all 100 servers. However, it's the variables that store information about the different host names, usernames, or passwords that are used to connect to each of these servers. We have already worked with variables earlier when we worked in the inventory section. If you remember an inventory file that looks like this, the Ansible host, Ansible connection, Ansible SSH pass are all examples of variables. We can define as many variables as required like this. We could also define variables inside playbook. This is a playbook we created earlier to add a DNS entry into etc.resolve.conf file. To add a variable, we could simply add a vars keyword followed by variables in a key value pair format. In this case, DNS server followed by the IP of the DNS server. We can always have variables defined in a separate file dedicated for variables. We will learn more about this later when we talk about includes and roles. So we have now defined variables, but how do we use them? If you look at our previous example where we defined a variable DNS server in the playbook, but we have not actually used it anywhere, what would be the right place to use that? In this line here where we defined the name server, we could replace the hard-coded value with the value from the variable. To use a variable, simply enter the variable name enclosed in double braces or curly brackets. When we run the playbook, Ansible will replace it with the value in the variable. Let's take another example. This is a longer playbook that is used to set multiple firewall configurations, which has a number of values hard-coded in it. If someone else wanted to reuse this playbook, he would have to modify the playbook to change these values. If these values that can vary are moved to the inventory file and referred to in the playbook using double curly braces, we could get away with modifying the inventory files alone in the future. An even better way to do this would be to move the variables into a file in the name of the host, in this case web.yaml. This is now a host variable file, and all values defined in this file are available for use by the playbook. This way it is even better organized. Remember, this format we are using to use variables is called Jinja2 templating. Look it up when you get a chance. Finally, while using variables with Jinja2 templating, remember to enclose it within quotes if you're starting your assignment with the variable. However, if the variable is in between a sentence, then this is not required. Let's play around with variables in coding exercises.